Hey YouTube, this is Heiko. So what you see here is the crankshaft of my 1989 Ford F150. Has a 5.8 liter or a 351W engine, and here in this spot is usually the C6 transmission. I'm currently working on rebuilding this thing, and I figure since I'm at it, I will replace the rear main seal. That's what it's called. That's where a lot of engines leak. And then pretty much where the bell housing is of your transmission right here, you constantly have a dribble of engine oil and it's kind of smeary. I cleaned this all up already with a brake clean. Seems to be really complicated for some people to replace the rear main seal. It's not really. It's pretty large, so outside diameter is somewhere around 4 inches, a little more. So this used to be in there. Some people make such a big fuss out of taking this out. First of all, so while this seal is still in there, they say you can't use any screwdrivers. You're gonna scratch up the outside of your case or your case pretty much. Well, it's really no big deal because you're gonna scratch up the very edge up here. That's not where this seal seals against. The seal gets driven into the case. Let's say 1/4 of an inch, more than that actually. I want to say 3/8 of an inch. And so what happened here on the outside edge doesn't really affect the seal at all. You might want to be a little careful here on the crank itself, but even there, once this seal is driven all the way into the case, what happens here on the very far outside edge of the crank doesn't matter either, because if it has a nick or whatever, you just need to be careful when you slide a new seal on there. You don't want to damage the new seal right when you install it. So if you really get a nick here on the outside of the crank, just take a piece of sandpaper and smoothen it out so it's a smooth surface when you push the new seal on. So this is the old one. I use this electric insulated screwdriver. Just, pried it out, worked my way around it, and plop, it came out. It was actually pretty easy. Now I'm gonna clean this all up with brake clean, so that the surface is pretty nice and clean. And then on the outside edge of the new seal, right there, I'm gonna put some what is it called? The right stuff. Sell it at AutoZone. It's like a universal heat resistant kind of a RTV silicone kind of deal, just so that the outside diameter kind of seals against the case. Here you see the gap in between this part, and over there's a gap as well, just to seal it in and so it stays in place. Be careful with that new seal, don't damage it. And I mentioned that the seal is about 4 inches outside diameter. And since I don't have a specific tool for it, here, let me show you what I came up with. This is a fitting for a 4-inch PVC pipe. 4-inch PVC is a little too small. The fitting, this here is a slip fitting that usually gets glued on with PVC glue. This outside diameter is a little larger, and I didn't measure it, but here's my new seal, and put that on here. It's like exactly the same outside diameter, exactly. So it couldn't be any better. So here's the right stuff. I will smear that on the outside edge, only on the outside, not on the inside. That's where the crank is going to be spinning, so that doesn't really work anyways. And then I take this PVC piece and a small dead blow hammer, and I'm gonna, hammer it in. It was really easy to take the old one out, so I'm assuming there's not going to be much resistance installing the new one. That's going to be the whole trick. And once you feel like it's all the way in, it doesn't move anymore, just stop. And then, put your, over there you can see that steel cover that goes back on there, and then the flex plate that the torque converter gets installed onto. was really easy to take off. And people say, oh yeah, be careful, the flex plate's gonna fall off when you take it off and hit you in the head. It doesn't even weigh much. It's maybe like a pound. So I held it with one hand, and I have my impact driver over there, took the bolts out with the other hand and then took it off. Nothing fell on my face. I don't have a scar in my face now, so it's all good. And yeah, this year, 4-inch PVC fitting, same outside diameter as the seal here. It's gonna be perfect. All right, maybe this will help someone someday. Ford F150 351W with a C6 transmission, replacing the rear main seal. I want to say the most difficult part is to take the transmission out. But my transmission needed a rebuild. Since I'm working on the rebuild on my workbench inside, I figure I put a new rear main seal in there. Now it's time. All right, enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Take care.